Hi, everybody. I love you all. Welcome to the Loving Kindness meditation for Wednesday. My name is Alex. I actually had to think about which class this was, just because yesterday I subbed for Jeff when he's on his for his intro class, and I almost said that was the Loving Kindness class, but it's not. It's wonderful to be here with you. If there's anyone who is new and who's never been to either the Wednesday class or any class at the Dharma Bum Temple, or just maybe been to one or two, say hi. I'd love to hear from you. And even if you're not new, say hi. I still would love to hear from you. This is really hard for the people who actually do these classes. That's not a Zoom class. That I'm just speaking into a camera, and so, I'm used to it, of course, because I've been doing it for, 3 months now, or 4 months in March, April, May, June. Oh my God, 4 months now. I can't see if you say hello, and so just saying hi just kind of makes me feel more engaged. So if you want to say hi, say hi. If you're new, just say you're new. As this lockdown goes on, a couple of things are happening. One is you see people kind of getting used to it. And so I was at the grocery store today because I had to get a couple of things, a few things, and there was nobody panicking. Everyone knew to wear a mask in the store. No one was acting a fool, I guess, as we would say in the South. And like everyone's pretty much used to it in one sense, and in another sense, if you look on social media, it's just getting sillier and sillier. That's all I have to say. It's just getting sillier and sillier. And if you spend a whole lot of time on social media, and I know that you do, because I do too, and that's fine, know that it's not the real world. It's not the real world. Most people know that wearing a mask is an act of loving kindness. It says that I care about myself. It says that I care about you. It says that I care about my community, my country. It says that I know this lockdown isn't preferable, and that I'd rather be out on the beach or at the park or riding my bike or having a party with my friends or, doing something and, wish that life was back to normal. But it isn't, and this is kind of what we have to deal with right now. This is it. You could wish that things were back to normal, but, it's just a fantasy. You can project ahead in the future, but that doesn't do you any good either, because what's important is what's happening right now. And, this loving kindness class becomes even more important because you get to see how a simple act of something that you do every day is your practice. This wearing a mask and caring about other people is your practice. And you can see all the other people practicing too, whether they're Buddhists or not. They're just being a good person. And that's what this practice is. It's not harming anybody. It's not harming anybody with our thoughts, our words, our deeds. And, in the Metta Sutta, or the Metta Sutra, which is the discourse on loving kindness, proclaimed by the Buddha 2,500 years ago, he said that you wouldn't harm a single person. And so that's what we're doing. So if you're wondering about practicing loving kindness, you practice it whenever you wear a mask. And it's important that you understand that. that I'm practicing right now, that I'm caring about my fellow human beings right now. And that the people on social media or on TV, or especially on social media, or people that you have to interact with, if they're one of those, I'm not going to wear a mask, or it's infringing on my liberty, whatever that is, you don't need to interact with them. You just need to do your own practice. Right? And I say this a lot, but it's really, it's still important that I say this again, that if you're on social media, you don't have to put up with things that you don't want to see. And that's true now, it's more now than ever. You didn't have to do it before, but you don't have to do it now either. So if there's lots of people causing trouble on your feed, just the unfriend button, that'll do it. You don't have to feel guilty about it. I did it like a couple of times, once yesterday. An old colleague, old coworker, nice person, but no, I don't think so. This is my feed. I can do whatever I want on my feed. So, and I felt good about it. I felt fine. This is fine. I'm taking care of myself. And it's so important that you take care of yourself now more than ever. I read a story a few weeks back, and it was the story of Malika, the flower girl queen. And part of the story that I didn't tell was that I just skipped this part. It wasn't on purpose. It happens sometimes. So she got promoted to queen. She was just a regular person, and she got promoted to queen in a day. Just because she made this wonderful offering to the Buddha, this karma ripened really quickly. So she was married to the king. They had a kind of a typical husband and wife relationship. Things weren't always smooth, but they patched things up. And so they were talking one day, and the king asked her, "Who do you love the most?" Kind of fishing for a compliment, like, oh, my king, it's you I love the most. But she didn't say that. She thought about it and said, I love myself the most. I do. I love myself the most. And the king was kind of taken aback a little bit. And then she said, well, how about you? Don't you feel the same way? And he thought about it and said, yeah, I think I do, yeah. And so they went later to the Buddha to tell him about this conversation that they had, and the Buddha goes, you're right, you're both right. You should love yourself the most. You're the one who you have to interact with yourself every day. You have to deal with these feelings that come up that might not be so wonderful. Every day, several times a day, hundreds of times a day. And you have with yourself as the person you have the most intimate relationship with. And so, this practicing of loving kindness for yourself is so important. It is so important. So, Travis, did anybody say hi, or is anybody new?
Yes, Eric said, hi, Alex, I'm not new.
Hi, Eric. Just one person. Gosh.
So the rest are saying hi in their hearts.
Ah, yes. The rest are saying hi in their hearts. That's good. All right. And so we're going to do our meditation on loving kindness. And because I know it's not the easiest to do loving kindness for yourself, we're going to do it, and we're going to get there. We usually start off with ourselves, but It's the third step in this particular meditation. Okay. You know, this word metta is this wonderful word that we use for loving kindness. And it's simply just a wish to be happy. A wish for ourselves to be happy, a wish for others to be happy. And not only a wish to be happy, but a wish that we and others do the things that cause happiness. And the things that cause happiness are our positive thoughts, words, and actions. And so if we all did that, this world would be such a wonderful place. And the wonderful thing about that is because, you know, your positive actions would never interfere with my positive actions. You know, it's a very selfless kind of thing. You know? And so that's why we do this. All right. So let's get into our seated position if we can. Oh, but before I start, I don't know if you can see my pajamas. My pajamas are penguin pajamas. They're penguins today. It says out cold. I like it. I like this kind of blue. Goes with my shirt, finally. All right. So if you're seated on a chair, you just want to make sure that your feet are flat on the floor with your legs a few inches apart. Your back is nice and straight. Hopefully it's not resting against the back, because it's really easy to get lazy and to fall asleep and just to kind of conk out. Right, so your core is nice and strong, so I like to make my back super duper straight and just kind of relax. So my core is still somewhat engaged, but my shoulders are dropped. My head is nice and straight. If I want to close my eyes, I can close my eyes. In the West, we just usually close our eyes. If that's going to freak you out, you don't have to do that. You can just have them half closed, looking 45 degrees down past your nose, like that. This kind of soft and focused gaze. And if you're sitting on a cushion, you just want to make sure that you're sitting on the forward third of the cushion so that your hips are higher than your legs. And your legs are crossed, and that forms a nice solid tripod with your body that's nice and sturdy. So you're not likely to move around too much. But here's the thing. And here's a way that you can have loving kindness for yourself in your posture, is that we have these instructions on posture so that you're able to stay still. But not everyone is able to stay perfectly still for the time duration of this meditation, and that's okay. So try your best to sit still. If you have to move, that's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. You could just move. Slow movements are the best. And you can even just say, you know, I'm going to move now. And then you move. And then you recenter yourself, and then you start again with your meditation. And you don't ding yourself because of it, and you don't get down on yourself because of it. You just moved. That's okay. And so we want to really foster this attitude of no struggle. We struggle so much. We're struggling so much, not only with our daily life, but now with the lockdown. And all the things that go with it. If you have kids and they're going to be home from school, you're going to have to figure out, well, what am I going to do about that? And all the other things that come with this. That's a lot to bear. And I know that it's a lot to bear. So we don't want to bring that struggle with us into meditation. So just sit comfortably, upright, dignified, like a Buddha. We can all sit like a Buddha. Whether we're sitting in a chair like I am, or whether you're sitting on a cushion, it doesn't matter. Whether you're sitting on the side of your bed, whether you're lying down, it doesn't matter. You can do those things like a Buddha. All right, so we're going to start our meditation now. So just allow your eyes to close. Making sure that we have that position that's nice and comfortable for us. Nice and sustainable, so we're not likely to move around too much. And when we sit like a Buddha, upright and dignified. And if you're lying down and dignified, ready for the task at hand, not worrying about anything else that's going on in your life. You can drop all of that right now. You can pick it up later if you really want to. So let's at first just start to pay attention to the breath. Focusing on the breath at the base of the nostrils, feeling the air go in and out as you breathe. So let's just all take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. At first, not forcing the breath, letting it be quite easy and quite natural. If you find yourself falling asleep, that's when you really want to pay attention and take a breath that's going to wake you up and pay attention to what's going on. So just for the next couple of moments, just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of the breath. And now to begin our loving kindness meditation, we're going to think of what we call a benefactor. And a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love and great kindness. Someone, when you think of this person, your heart begins to grow. Just a smile comes across your face. You have these warm, fuzzy feelings for this person. It could be anyone, really. Mother, father, sister, brother, best friend, teacher that was significant for you. Someone who you've seen on TV and you admire a great deal. They can be living, they can be not living. So just pick the first person that comes to mind. Just think about their wish to be happy, their wish to be safe and protected, free from pain. And you can do this, practice a couple of different ways. You can either repeat phrases over and over, like a mantra. Phrases like, may you be happy, and say their name. May you be safe from inner and outer danger. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at peace and live at ease in this world. You can use one or more of those phrases, or if you don't want to do that, you can just imagine, you could just radiate loving kindness to them. You can imagine just radiating a beam of loving kindness from your heart to theirs. Maybe it's vibrating, maybe it's warm or cool, maybe it's different colors or one color. You can make it whatever color you want. It also helps to smile while you do it. This is called right effort. Trying to generate these positive mind states in everything that you do. So just for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness for our benefactor. And now, changing our focus just a little bit to doing this for a benefactor, to now imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. And this is a really important part of this practice. It really helps to put your hand over your heart when you're doing this practice. So you're going to imagine your benefactor, and it could be the same one, it could be a different one, it's fine. Doing this practice for you, saying these phrases for you, or either that or just radiating a beam of loving kindness from your heart to theirs, to yours, their heart to yours. And seeing how much of your benefactor's loving kindness, how much of it can you accept? How much of it can you let in? And the reason I ask you put your hand over your heart is to feel for any resistance. Any part of your heart that says, no, I can't let you in. I just can't. It's too hard. And if you feel any kind of resistance, can you breathe into that? Can you breathe into that and let it in? Accept all of it. And still with that smile on your face, imagining the face of your benefactor smiling down at you, shooting this beam of loving kindness from their heart to yours, or repeating the phrases. We'll do this for the next part of our practice. And now comes the most important part, and that is having loving kindness for yourself and doing this practice for yourself. And you can keep your hand over your heart, and you can either start to repeat these phrases for you. May I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. Or you can even try radiating into your own heart. Imagining your heart getting bigger, warmer. Able to include all of your pain, all of your suffering, regret, all of your joy and happiness. No part of you was excluded in this loving kindness for yourself. So we'll do this for the next few moments. And finally, it's time to do this practice for as many people as you can. I usually say all beings in all directions, but not everyone can go out that far. And so I want you to experiment and see how far you can go out. Can you do everyone in your neighborhood? Maybe you can do everyone in San Diego, or everyone in California, or everyone in the US, or everyone in North America. Can you include the whole world? Can you go out even further? And it doesn't matter how far you can go out. All beings suffer in some way. So do what you can do. So to end our practice, we'll give this away to this loving kindness away to as many people as we can do this for. So just open your eyes when you're ready. And let's just take the next 60 seconds out in silence as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs, keeping that mindfulness of loving kindness about you. Then we'll begin. Well, that was certainly good for me. And these loving kindness meditations are always good for me, and hopefully they're working well for you too. We do it in this kind of modified way just to make it a little bit easier to have loving kindness for yourself. And I hope that helped. I hope that helped you. So this is a time for questions. I'm going to talk a little bit, but during that time, if you have a question, just put it in the chat box. If you just want to tell me what that experience of meditation was like for you, that's great. I'm always eager to hear that, whether it's, it was positive or not. Whatever your experience is just your experience. And so it's not wrong. It's just your experience, right? And maybe I told this story last week. I don't know if it bears repeating if I did. If I didn't. Ram Dass said, if you think you're enlightened, go spend a week with your family, right? And what that means is, however, we're on this spiritual path and whatever progress we think that we've made, so often when we go back to visit our family, or our family comes over to visit, or we spend any amount of time with our family, sometimes it almost seems like we just kind of regress back into childhood, or regress back into that same old way of communicating with them that was probably pretty dysfunctional. You think that so-and-so really presses my buttons. My mom really presses my buttons. My dad my sister, my brother, whomever it might be, they really just press my buttons. Well, of course they do, because they installed the button, right? So they feel like you just kind of press it any time just to get a rise out of you. So that's that old conditioning that usually comes to the fore when you're back with your family. And sometimes, like when it happens to me, I don't really know how to deal with it a lot of times, especially now. And I have this loving kindness class, and I know harming, and all I really want to do is like say F you to whomever it is. In my case, my sister. So, I have 3 sisters, and they're all older than me, and I'm the youngest. And my youngest sister I adore, and she adores me, and I love her, and everything's great and wonderful. My oldest sister I just had to unfriend from Facebook just because of her. She lives in Alabama. We'll just leave it at that. But my niece, her daughter also lives in Alabama, and I love her. Actually, I love my oldest sister too. It's not like I don't love her, but it's too much. She thinks the Earth is 6,000 years old. And then my middle sister, who lives up in LA, I love her too. It's not like I don't. But, every time I think I go, next time I interact with her, just gonna give her the business. And not in a mean way or anything like that, but I'm just gonna really kind of stand up, and I'm just not gonna be just kind of take it and, whatever. And so she texted me and said that, oh, I watch you on YouTube. And she is not into any kind of spiritual anything at all, ever. So I was very surprised when she told me that. And so I said, oh, really great. Well, yeah, I just was very, very kind and back to her. And then I actually talked to her on the phone. She said she was coming down from LA to Coronado a couple weeks ago when we weren't locked down. And I was really just kind of seething then because, great, you're going to come down and give us the COVID. Because it's just not really a great thing to do. And if you live in San Diego, and that particular couple of weekends ago, when everybody from LA came down to our beaches and to our, hot spots, whatever, all that kind of stuff. And so she called me actually the next morning, said, hey, we're in Coronado, why don't you come over? I said, well, no, no, I am not doing that. In a nice way. I said, well, that would be nice, but, because of COVID, I'm, distancing. And she goes, oh, yeah, we don't believe in that. Okay. Oh, I didn't really watch you on YouTube. I just gave the link to my son so he could try to get to know his uncle. And so here it comes. And I laugh about it now. It wasn't funny at the time. So even though I teach a class on loving kindness, I get pissed off too. And then I felt better a couple days later when I talked to the good sister about it. So I don't know, I just thought about that. Or maybe I told another version of that story with less information in it last time. I can't remember. Yeah, so that's what happened. So that wasn't really a Dharma talk. I just wanted to share what happened to me. So yeah, I'm interested to hear from you what questions you might have. Tell me what that meditation was like for you. Any questions about Buddhism? And I like to keep it relatively open.
So Anne shared, thank you, Alex. That was very nice about the meditation.
Oh.
And then
Thank you, Anne.
Janie asked, I definitely have resistance when receiving loving kindness from the benefactor, though not when giving myself loving kindness.
Isn't that interesting? So, and this is what makes this class hard, because a lot of times when you have a comment or a question, it just begs another question from me to get you some more information. So do your best. And maybe I won't ask the question right now, but that's really interesting that you said that. And to be perfectly honest, that's the first time I've heard that. You have resistance to the benefactor giving you loving kindness, but you don't have any resistance when you give yourself loving kindness. So the first question to ask is, 1, are they really a benefactor? I don't know if that's a yes or a no. Hold on to that. Are they really a benefactor? If they are, great. Did you put your hand over your heart? Did you feel that resistance? And were you able to, not analyze why this is happening, but just breathe into it? And was the resistance a little resistance? Was it like a medium resistance, or was it just like really your heart is pushing back here? And so when that happens, another good thing to maybe think about is, can you change benefactors? I have sometimes two benefactors that are kind of my go-tos. One is living, one is not. But I could choose lots of benefactors. So can you change the benefactor, and is there a different heart response? Wow, what an intriguing question that is, Janie. Thank you. Did she say anything? Did you say anything? I said to hold on to it, but you can say something if you want to.
She just added, right after I read her other one, she added, "Thank you for sharing about your family. So related, and I needed a laugh in a relatable way."
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, you guys. So for 3 sisters I have, I got one, one I like. The other 2, I love them. But oh my God. So, if you're watching, honestly, I think this is real. Graduated from college.
Oh, she did say yes on the answers, and she was able to breathe into it.
Okay. Good. But again, Janie, that's so intriguing. That's an interesting question. I've actually never had that before. So I actually had to think about that.
Sergio shared, "I just learned about the story of Prince Siddhartha for my world religions class. He wanted to end suffering, 49 days meditating for enlightenment. That is amazing. Might try it one day."
So they say 7 weeks. Sergio, thank you. If you look back on the Dharma Bum website, or the Dharma Bum YouTube channel, maybe 5 weeks ago, I told the story of the Siddhartha. And it was about that, something like that. And so you might want to check that out if you want to know the whole story, unless you already know the whole story. If you learn that in your world religions class, but it's a fun story I love to tell. Love it. And I've told a few stories actually. I haven't told a story in a few weeks, so maybe I'll get back to that too. So, so thank you, Sergio. It's an incredible. It's a wonderful story. It's a wonderful hero's journey kind of a story. And there's so much just to kind of get out of that, metaphorically. So, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sergio.
And there's also on the temple YouTube, we have a playlist, a story time playlist of the times you've told stories.
We do? I didn't even know that. So we have a story time playlist of all the times I've told a story. Because I've told a lot of stories. So check it out.
So Eric asked, in light of your stories referring to family that piss you off, would you consider adding strangers and enemies back into the meta-guided? I used to use my sister and stepmom during that phase. I found it helped me have compassion towards them and see them as just another person trying their best.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful way to look at the enemy or neutral person. And really quickly, when I say enemy, that's just the Buddhist term. When we normally out in the regular world, when we think of enemy, we think of our mortal enemy that we want to stab with a fork in their eye or something like that. And that may or may not be the case in Buddhism. So the enemy in Buddhism is basically anyone who you have kind of a difficult time with. Either a little bit of a difficult time or a lot of a difficult time. And so doing this practice for the enemy and for a neutral person, those two things which I've left out in this new modified way that I've been doing it recently, is also very important. I don't want to minimize their importance by not including them. My purpose for doing it in this modified way is to focus on loving kindness for yourself. And the reason why I'm doing that is because we're in a pandemic, and this is a really a time of uncertainty and fear, to be perfectly honest. And so that's why I've done it in this kind of modified way. But Eric, to your question, eventually I'll put them back, and I don't want to minimize their importance, because they're very important. Because I know they're really beneficial for a lot of people. Although, really quickly, if you're doing this practice for the enemy, and you've never done it for the enemy, the tendency is to go for the mortal enemy, like the person that you can't stand the most, the person who just really gets under your skin, you just want to punch in the face and slam their face in a toaster. In a toaster? On a stove. Well, maybe in a toaster. But I might be projecting. And so don't go for the mortal enemy. Go for like the person who just annoys you a little bit, because it's easier that way. It's too jarring to go for the mortal enemy for almost everybody. So if you want to try that, you can absolutely try that on your own, because you just shouldn't do this metta meditation once a week, at this class. Do it every day. Do it all the time, every day, if you want to. It's okay, you can do it. And I think that's our time. Is there any more questions? We can take another question.
No more questions.
No more questions. Well, that's okay. Well, thank you guys. We actually had a lot of good questions. Very great. So guys, thank you for coming. It's wonderful to have you. I really do love you all. And let's join our palms together at our hearts, please. Oh, before we do that, did you hear when we were doing the meditation, for ourselves, somebody with a boombox came by and was playing that song, You Can't Hurry Love. That was hilarious. Did you hear that? You can't hurry love. No, you just have to wait. When you're trying to do loving kindness for yourself, like, no, I don't want to wait. Okay, let's draw our palms together at our hearts, please. And may the benefits of this meditation, this discussion, be received by all beings. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that they are. Thank you for coming. This is so awesome. We'll see you next time, guys. Bye now.